everyone, welcome to week number 3 of our course together. Now, I really want you to be working diligently on finding those 2 individuals for your cultural interviews paper. This is really important that you work quickly to find an appointment with them. Some of you may have already done the interviews. I know we had that week for the 4th of July. You may have already coordinated all this together, and if you have, wonderful, you're ahead of the game. If you have not yet found 2 people, you really need to get that done because you don't want to rely on somebody else's schedule that influences your grade. So again, be diligent and be working on those cultural interviewees. Now for this particular week, we have 4 parts. We have chapter 5 on culture, self, and identity. This is how culture helps us define ourselves, how culture influences self-esteem, self-enhancement, and how culture influences our own sense of identity. Now the work for that chapter includes reading chapter 5, reviewing that PowerPoint, taking good notes, completing the discussion, completing the quiz, and completing the reflection. Now part 2 of this particular week involves looking at chapter 6 and culture and personality. This is where we're going to define personality, talk about the 5-factor model, which many of you have already heard about before, but again, a good way for us to see this in action. Talking about other dimensions of personality, and of course, some really good research there. For chapter 6, you would need to read the chapter in the textbook, look over the PowerPoint, take good notes, complete the discussion, the quiz, and the reflection. The third part for this week is chapter 7 on culture and gender. Now this is a really interesting topic. We're going to be looking at gender differences across culture in ways like masculinity, femininity, hard word to say, jealousy, aggressiveness, conformity, and many others. We're also going to discuss gender stereotypes, gender roles, and so on. Now for this particular chapter, I want you to read the chapter 7 in the textbook, look over the PowerPoint, take good notes, and complete the discussion, but there's no quiz or reflection for that particular chapter. Now, as with previous weeks, everything's still the same. The discussion questions have to be answered by Thursday at 11:55. The reply to 2 classmates need to be done by Sunday at 11:55. Your quizzes, and your reflections need to be done by Sunday at 11:55. Now, what's unique to this week is that you have a midterm. This midterm exam is due Saturday, July 20th at 11:55 p.m. Let me say that again. Saturday, July 20th at 11:55 p.m. The reason I offset it is because I want you to be able to work on it throughout the week, so you could be answering the essay questions for chapters 5, 6, and 7 as you're learning about them. Also, that it's not due at the same time that your 2 replies to classmates per discussion, your chapter quizzes, and your reflections are due. So it's kind of an independent due date to make sure that you have time to complete it. As always, if you have any questions or needs, make sure you get a hold of me, and I look forward to reading that midterm exam and really seeing how much you've learned so far.